Well, it took Cheteshwar Pujara to drop the anchor in the port city of Chattogram on the opening day of this first Test match between Bangladesh and India, and it is Cheteshwar Pujara and Shreyas Iyer's 150 partnership that took India to a score. Whether it's respectable, will it be enough or not? We'll find out in the next 20 minutes. But what an innings from Pujara! Dogged defense, hardly any false shots, used his feet really well, and showed how crucial he is to India's Test side. You're watching Cricbuzz Chatter. I'm Manish Batavia, and I'm now joined by perhaps the best dressed cricket broadcaster, cricket analyst on planet Earth, Dinesh Karthik. Welcome to Cricbuzz Chatter. DK, my investment advisor is extremely worried. He believes I'm going to relieve him of his services because you seem to get all your predictions right. You spoke about how crucial Cheteshwar Pujara is going to be for India on these slow, low wickets, and how good was that prediction today for you?
Yes, a lot of credit to Pujara. I think just the way he was able to bat for such a long period of time at that tempo, these days you don't see that very often. We talk about baseball, we talk about aggressive cricket, but playing 200 balls to get a 90 has become a very rare sort of effort in batting these days, and that's where Pujara's strength comes to the fore. His ability to stay through that inning, be like a glue through the wickets falling around him, but still maintain that tempo where you can't get too many boundaries because of the way the wicket is and the way the fields they set. But for him to bat through shows that knocks like these are right up his alley. I think this is what he has been built up on from day one, from the time he was under 14 and under 19. He has just grown to play these knocks. He'd be very disappointed with the dismissal in the sense that it came at a time when he knew round the corner was 100. But again, a solid knock from an elder statesman who's done really well for India.
Now, we saw various shades of Test cricket. It was very up and down, as is the nature of Test cricket. If someone watched the first session and then watched the highlights of Cheteshwar Pujara's innings, it would be confusing to assess the pitch. What was your assessment of this pitch? Because this Chattogram pitch has been much maligned over the years as well. So what's your assessment of how the pitch behaved on day one?
It wasn't a great pitch. I think, the grass cover on top in many ways was very pseudo to what grass generally does on a surface. We got to understand in those kinds of soil, a grass is there just to hold the wicket together, to keep it bound. Otherwise, it'll crumble and it'll break up. For that not to happen, they have grass cover. It's not in any way going to aid the fast bowler in terms of seam or bounce, nothing like that. And a little disappointment towards the wicket was the fact that it didn't have too much bounce. And also, this tell me India is going to work really hard to get 20 wickets. It's going to be a big challenge because the wicket doesn't have the pace that normal wickets around the world in international cricket seem to have. So on a slow wicket, you have to work that much more. So overall, definitely not the best wicket India has played, or not a great wicket. Is it a result producing wicket? It's going to take an enormous effort by the spinners for us to produce a result here.
Yes, 278 for 6 at the end of day one. But on this pitch, a couple of years ago, this pitch has also been given a demerit point by David Boone, where a ton of runs were scored. And for the health of Test cricket at large, not just in Bangladesh, but world over as well, you'd want to make sure that pitches don't behave the way it did. In the first session, was keeping low. And in the second session as well, the one that was a drop catch by the keeper, it stayed so low. You can't really blame the keeper, can you?
Definitely not. I think that was a really hard one. Pujara's half chance that he gave immediately post lunch, a full ball coming through, not easy. So for me, this wicket will require a lot of patience from our bowlers, just like the patience shown by the batsmen. Overall, we even heard KL Rahul come and say aggressive brand of cricket. But the moment you lose 3 wickets, obviously you're trying to hold fort and not lose any more wickets. And hence, you couldn't see the run rate flourish to a 4 runs an over or 4.5. It is one of those usual subcontinent wickets where you need to grind, defend, play long hours for you to get your runs. And that's exactly reflected, as you can see, to constantly be around the 3 mark shows that neither the bowler has gotten away nor have the batsmen gotten away. It's right in between the 3-run mark. So, credit where credit is due. I think their spinners really made some dents up front, and India were able to, in many ways, put a rearguard action throughout the day's play.
Yes, aggression can be a bit of a double-edged sword, can't it? And I'm going to put you at this point on Cricbuzz Chatter. I'm going to put you on the hot spot. Now, the Indian captain KL Rahul before the match said, "You're going to see a lot of aggressive cricket from our side." Now, despite the pitch being low and slow, did the statement come with a disclaimer? Did India live up to the captain's statement, barring of course
It's
Rishabh
very
Pant's sprightly innings?
Yes, I think it's very interesting that you followed up our talk into the baseball and KL Rahul statement. I kind of like where you're coming from. For me, as I said, it is very evident that these are the kind of wickets that sometimes ends up not producing a result, because you will see that as the test match carries on, the wear and tear will make it slow. So when the wicket becomes slow, what happens is, if the quality of the batsmanship is not great, then you will end up seeing batsmen making mistakes. But in these kind of wickets, if the temperament is strong, you don't need a great technique per se to stay in the wicket. Why? For a start, I don't think India can play the baseball kind of cricket, because right now it's not part of our DNA to do something like that. But for KL Rahul to come out and say they're going to make an aggressive, they're going to play with a lot of aggressive intent, basically means they want to make a match out of it and get a result, knowing that the World Test Championship final is round the corner, and for them these two games become really critical. So they want to, in many ways, push press the accelerator and push the scoring rate, but they couldn't do it today, mainly because the wicket was a slow. B, if you're going to bat like at an average of 4.5, you have to bring a different tempo altogether, and that will require a few players who bat that way. Let's take the example of Rishabh Pant. He got a 46, 46 of literally a runner ball, because that's part of his DNA for him to do that. For him to get the 39, the way he batted was something that is very naturally it comes to him. I think that is where things are going in terms of test match cricket itself, because you see people coming to the grounds and you see more attractive cricket played if the scoring rate is at a certain tempo. And I think this wicket probably didn't provide it, but we have to change the way we bat and the mindset towards batting a lot if we need to get there.
Now, intent to play aggressive cricket is one, and having the resources to do so is another. Does India have the personnel to imbibe the same baseball approach? India's got to win 5 of the next 6 test matches to qualify for the WTC finals.
I mean, look, I don't think personnel is a problem. If you see, we have KL Rahul, Shubman Gill, Virat Kohli, Rishabh Pant, Shreyas Iyer. Out of the top 6 batters, 5 play all 3 formats. You know, so that goes to tell me that these are the same guys who bat at 130s and 140 strike rate when they play white ball cricket. So batting at a 80, 85 strike rate is not a big deal for them, but it is a mindset shift. So that would mean taking a few risks sometimes. Are you okay with that? Let's take the example of Shubman Gill. He's probably going to think with the way he's got now, that that was rather a soft dismissal. What is the kind of shot that I should have chosen? Probably I should have stepped out and probably hit it along the ground. So then the lap sweep goes out of the equation. Or he could be thinking, shall I play that when I'm more set as a batter rather than too early in the inning? So these are the kind of questions. The moment the answers internally become more positive, then you start taking those options and try and do it at the right time. I heard Harry Brook, when he got out in the first innings, Nasser Hussain questioned him and he said it was a really poor shot that I played. I don't think it's going to happen again. So when he came back in the second innings, he got 100, didn't do anything like that, but batted at a certain tempo, which is around the 70, 80 strike rate. That is the kind of mindset you need to obviously know you've done a mistake, but this is how you're going to rectify it, and you're going to back that way that you're going to bat. That is going to be the key.
Right. Once you look at the scorecard, you'd obviously be tempted to talk more about Shreyas Iyer and Pujara. But Rishabh Pant's innings of just under 50, Rishabh Pant excites, he exhilarates, and then the way he gets out, he exasperates as well. And I mean, as Indian cricket followers and lovers, we've got to be prepared for both experiences. But an innings that perhaps pulled India out of the hole, it was crucial because it took pressure off Pujara as well.
I think it was a very good inning what Rishabh Pant played. I think he came out and he was the Rishabh Pant that we're used to seeing in Test cricket, stepping out, making the bowlers bowl to him, using of the crease, hitting the first six of the day. It was just terrific to watch him play. I think he, in many ways, put the foot on their throat and didn't let go till he got bowled. And these sort of dismissals will happen. It was just an error in judgment of picking the length. He played back to something that was rather full, but that's because he wanted to take the single. He wanted to create that into a run scoring opportunity, and that could happen once in a way. I'm not too fussed with that shot. Whereas Shubman's and KL's were soft dismissals.
Yeah. DK, there is a school of thought which says Rishabh Pant is a format agnostic player, and England's Baz ball seems to be a derivative of Pant ball, which seems to be a derivative of Viru ball, isn't it?
Well, we've taken the equation far too long. I agree, Manish. But these are cricketers who have constantly played Test cricket at that tempo. We're talking about two Indian cricketers who are used to batting at that tempo, 70s and 80s strike rate. If you see Virender Sehwag's strike rate to spinners is phenomenal. Him and Rishabh Pant are right up at the top when it comes to playing spin for India. I think they've dominated it. And over the years, we've seen many players who play at that tempo. We've seen a Hayden and a Slater do it for some time. Hayden and we've seen the likes of Gilchrist do it. So over a period of time, Brendan McCullum scored the fastest 100 on the day he retired. So, there have been some fabulous knocks now and then, but the big difference with baseball is they're doing it every day that they go in. That is the big difference. The whole team is bought into it and they're batting that way. So they play to that tempo, and that is what makes them a very interesting and very watchable team right now.
Yes, so when Rishabh Pant and Cheteshwar Pujara were sort of stitching that partnership, it seemed like a beautiful confluence between fire and ice. And before we move on to Shreyas here, just a quick question on Pujara. Just the way he used his feet against the spinners, it's another reminder of how this template can work so well. On tough pitches, use your feet and negate the chance of the ball turning. How beautiful is that template? And there's so much to learn for young cricketers, isn't it, from how Pujara batted?
Terrific. I think if you've played domestic cricket with Pujara, you'll understand that wickets like these are right up his alley, where he can use the foot a lot more, beat fields over a period of time. They've seen his videos. So the moment he comes in, they remove the deep square leg, put that extra mid-wicket fielder. Before, when the mid-wicket fielder wasn't there, he used to get a lot more runs there. So teams do analysis and they've changed it. But Pujara is Pujara because of the knocks he played today. He's played dime a dozen these kind of knocks in domestic cricket, but the only difference was he'll go on to score a 220 or a 300 or a 160. Today he couldn't do it, and hence a Pujara would be very upset. But credit to the way he batted. You always need somebody like that to bat X number of balls for everybody else to in many ways contribute, and then you get to that 400 mark that we keep speaking about. So it was a terrific knock, a very Pujara-esque knock. I think his coach Rahul Dravid was somebody who did that for a long time for India at that same number. So it was a good knock. It was something Team India needed, and it was right up Pujara's mindset and the way he bats. He just loved it. I think it was something that he must have enjoyed. We have to understand that Test cricket, obviously, we haven't played a lot. So here is a man who is probably at the brink of his career towards, in many ways towards the end. But so when you get an opportunity like this, you want to make it count. And wow, didn't he make it count today?
Yes, 18 Test hundreds could have easily been 19 as well before he got an absolute beauty from the left arm spinner. But he's not the kind of guy who'll obsess about, my 19th hundred, triple figures. He's done his job, hasn't he? He's done his job, and he wouldn't really fret too much about getting out in the 90s.
No, I don't think so. When you play a Test match where you bat at 200 balls, you've really done all the hard work. On wickets like these, sometimes a new ball comes, runs come in a flourish. And I think he was at that phase where he could have easily got a couple of boundaries in the next couple of overs and have reached his 100. It will obviously hurt a little bit. A Test 100 is a Test 100. But credit to the way Taijul is bowled, easily the best bowler of the day. And he bowled a good one to get Pujara and Virat Kohli were two good balls in the day. So credit to Taijul. I think where Pujara is, he will be hurt. But on the flip side, when he thinks about his knock tomorrow, he will realize that it was a crucial knock, one for the team, and one that obviously where he batted time that he is used to at the tempo that is used to. And he will want to, from here on, push and keep being consistent, because a number 3 Pujara is what Team India needs for them to compete in big matches, and that is something that he'll be looking to do.
Yes, and when Rishabh Pant got out, the job wasn't done. India needed another solid partnership, and how confident and clear-headed was Shreyas Iyer in his intent. He's making a bit of a habit of getting into double figures in Test cricket. There was an opportunity for him, and he lapped it up. There was such clarity of thought, and he backed himself to play shots.
Shreyas Iyer is growing from strength to strength. I think every time he goes out to bat, he is showing that he has maturity. I think that is what we need to look into Shreyas Iyer. You know, when you talk about big games, big moments, what comes through is your temperament, your will to fight. And these are two qualities which are coming through with Shreyas Iyer. Batting at number 6 today, team in a bit of trouble, 112 for 4, comes there, does a job. You know, like a proper number 6, bats through, knows all rounders to follow, not so much batting after that, but still gets in there, takes his time, hits the right kind of boundaries, bats through the day, does the job for Team India. I think he again is showing the ability to absorb pressure at tough times, and that is a very good quality. I know that he is a terrific player of spin, but to still come and do what he did is a very good effort because it takes a lot of mental effort to bat through these kind of innings, and credit to him.
And 100 tomorrow will perhaps do a world of good to his chances of playing the 4 Test matches against Australia as well. So crucial that he hits 100 because the impact of 100 somehow seems to be a lot more than a 98, 99 in our part of the world.
Yes, I think, you know, 100 is 100 in Test cricket. As a batter, you will know if you get a 99, it's not treated the same way like it would in 100. So you always put a value to that. But when we look at it, we need to look at the value of what he is doing for Team India, you know, coming in at tough situations and delivering, whether in one day cricket or in Test cricket. So that is something that I appreciate about him. And that is something Team India needs at that number 6, somebody who's able to absorb pressure, but then know that when it's the opportunity to put pressure back, he does it. And that's what you require. And that is really good to watch.
And he's had a very good year across formats 2022. Has he, with this performance, added the word undroppable to his name, especially for the new selection committee that comes in soon?
Well, I think undroppable is something that is very wrong. I don't think anybody is undroppable in any team. I think it just takes a couple of innings and then we start looking the other way. But what he's definitely done is say, I am a guy who is ready to play under pressure, to produce those knocks. And literally every time he's walked out to bat, he's got double figures and a lot of the times 50 and more. So he is giving you consistency wherever you go. He is giving you stability as a player where the coach and captain can look and say, hey, he's doing a job for us. And that is something that is very, very important when you bat in the middle order. Whether he'll be there till the Australia series, there is no doubt. And again, after that, there are many tournaments to follow, and the Test Championship final, wherever India reaches, India have a great chance. But for the moment, he is saying he is the guy that they need to back, and he is doing a job every time he walks in to bat for Team India.
Yes, we've chatted threadbare about what the Indians did with the bat, but just a little question on Bangladesh as well. Now, Taijul Islam today bowled, I think, 12 overs in the first session and bowled only 5 in the second session. After Rishabh Pant got out, should they have bowled him more? Shakib Al Hasan perhaps didn't bowl because of his injury. He didn't bowl too much in the second session. Did Bangladesh miss a trick by not keeping Taijul Islam on from one end consistently?
You know, yes and no, I would say. I would say yes, because only if you do bowl him a longer spell, which we're used to seeing in Test cricket, his kind of bowling is more overspin. You need the wicket to help you a little bit. And but what was nice about him was the lengths that he was varying, the lines a little bit. So he was working along with his strengths. He was just dropping, not just dropping the ball there. Also, as a bowler, you have to understand, even though it's a spinner, when you bowl a longish spell, your fingers tend to tire, and that can be really hard. So, what you're thinking as a captain is you want to give a small break so that every time he comes, there is enough revs on the ball for you to create trouble for the batter. If you're just bowling because you're bowling well in a spell, you can only push it to a point. After that, it becomes tiring. And I think Shakib would know it is not a wicket where the fast bowlers can give you much. So that leaves only these 3 spinners to work with. And let's be honest, we all know Shakib is not at his 100% probably, but still Bangladesh need him. And so he's taken himself this opportunity to come and play. So that will leave us with just 2 bowlers, out of which Mehdi Hassan Miraz is an off spinner. 2 right-handers bowling maybe, and hence you can see why he has been their most expensive bowler, so to say. So that leaves us with the fact that he's got to use Taijul as cleverly as possible, knowing that it's going to be a longish day for him. 30 overs is very long in a normal day, but you can see the difference. The next bowler who's bowled anything close to that is 18. So I don't think you can bowl more than 30 overs in a day with a bowler. So fair play to Shakib. I think Taijul did the job. And also the fact that he was head and shoulders above the rest of the bowlers in getting the wickets and also causing trouble to whoever batted. So well done to Taijul. And the fact that Shakib used him consistently through the day was something that we were all aware of, knowing that he is their best bowler.
278 for 6 at the end of the first day's play. What's in store on day 2 time now for Fast Forward with DK? Right, DK, what's in store on day 2 given how the pitches behaved? India 6 down, Shreyas Iyer is still there. I'm sure be thinking about his 100 as well. India will clearly look to score as much as possible, but what's a good score on this pitch, and do you see this test match lasting the 5 days?
I think 375 plus is a good score. I think that will give India the chance to get ahead by 100 or so. We'll also see Team India coming in and batting with more, with a higher run rate, if that is the need of the hour for us to get a result in this test match. So the bigger the lead that they get will help them more. I can easily see Team India get one partnership, and there is a good chance that they can get, close to 100 plus as a lead. But for the moment, I think the key would be to see through the first 40 minutes, half an hour, because new batter coming in, knowing this is the last recognized batsman, we obviously have to make sure that partnership with Shreyas Iyer is there. You need to get a 50-60 run partnership. We all know Ashwin has the potential to get 100 with the bat if he gets going. But tomorrow, again, opportunity for him and Shreyas to stitch together a good partnership. And then if they get a good partnership, then the pressure will slowly start mounting on Bangladesh, because they'll constantly be thinking, okay, declaration is around the corner, or the fact that we're going to bat is around the corner. And that's when India come into bowl and get those wickets. If we can end the day tomorrow where we can get 6 wickets, I think that is what ideally would be good for Team India.
Test match nicely poised. Lots happened in Chattagram, but elsewhere something else happened that perhaps turned the clock back for Indian cricket viewers, because 3 words came back in fashion: Tendulkar hits century. Arjun Tendulkar scored 100 for Goa versus Rajasthan. Given the colorful shirts you wear, DK, have you been asked by Twitterati about your reactions? They think you're a Goan, and so a reaction is called for from you on Arjun Tendulkar's 100.
I've seen Arjun quite a bit. Obviously, he is more a left-arm medium pacer who can bat a bit, but he definitely had credentials with the bat. You could see he could hit a ball, but getting 100, I think, is always something that's very special. Kudos to him. Many more to him. We don't generally associate Arjun Tendulkar with the bat, but it is good knowing that he is somebody who's worked hard on his batting. I've seen him in England, when we used to go and practice in Lords. That's why he used to practice with the younger boys there, and we could see him. He had the potential to obviously do well, but he's worked consistently with the bat. Even in BKC, when I used to go and practice, I've seen him come there a lot. So credit to him, moving states, taking that big gamble, but going out there for an opportunity and then grabbing it with both hands. He's done well in Syed Mushtaq Ali and the Vijay Hazare, and all the players who played against him said that he has bowled well. So it is good to see Arjun Tendulkar do well with the bat. Wish him all the very best and let him keep going up the ladder.
Yes, it's good to see him wanting to carve his own path and do the hard yards in a lesser known team, with due respect to Goa. And this was, of course, his first class 100 in the Ranji Trophy game versus Rajasthan. But we've had a very well-rounded, all-round chat on all that happened on day 1. But for all our viewers, I've got 2 things for you: a piece of advice and a bit of a challenge. The advice is for you guys to sign up for Cricbuzz Plus. It is the best premium service available for cricket fans on digital. You can watch ad-free content. You can watch match clips of this match as well. You can watch the highlights of the Rishabh Pant, Pujara, Shreyas Iyer batting exploits. And there are interviews and features and so much more on offer on Cricbuzz Plus. And the other challenge I have for you is to predict the color of Dinesh Karthik's shirt on tomorrow's episode of Cricbuzz Chatter. I'm going to take a punt and say it's going to be a bright, resplendent orange. In case you have any other thoughts or any other colors on mind, please do tweet to Dinesh Karthik and I. Make sure you use the hashtag Cricbuzz Chatter, and do join us at Stumps on day 2 of this first test match between Bangladesh and India. For now, this is Manish Batavia signing off on Cricbuzz Chatter. We'll see you tomorrow.